SCCA's National Championship Runoffs has long been a launching pad to professional careers for some, an annual pilgrimage for many, and a bucket list event just to compete in for all. This weekend, it is also a test extraordinaire, as for the contenders, Sonoma Raceway awaits. Hi, everybody, and welcome to an absolutely glorious morning here in California's wine country. It is time for our coverage of the 55th running of the Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs, and at an absolutely equally glorious racetrack, Sonoma Raceway. Hi, everybody. I am Greg Creamer. Greatly pleasure to be alongside Larry McLeod, who this year won himself a national championship in Solo 2 competition in kart mod. And we also are going to have Hayward Wagner patrolling and covering things down in the pit lane for us. And we have got an amazing weekend here. First of all, a big thanks, of course, to Mazda for presenting this coverage for us. And this track is an absolute delight, but it is an incredible challenge, not just for drivers, Larry, but for crews. This is a demanding setup track as well as it is executing it from behind the wheel.
It really is, and the venue is the beautiful part. It's a amazing, spectacular views. However, the challenge is the fact that this track has nearly zero flat braking points. Everything seems to have some sort of a bending, whether it's an uphill, off camber, downhill. That's a huge challenge. And then the surface comes into play. A lot of teams are struggling getting the tires at the right temperature for an extended period of time. There's questions all around in a lot of places whether or not this abrasion on the surface can actually have the tires last up to the 20-lap races. So there's a challenge there in trying to make sure that you manage your tires throughout the duration of the race. Now, a lot of the drivers in this particular field have experience of this track. That helps, but maybe not in the conditions that we're going to be seeing here on this cold fall morning.
And the class, of course, Formula Continental. And we have had qualifying has unfolded already. And let's get down and meet the third member of our team, Hayward Wagner, with our Tire Rack Pole Award interview.
Guys, I'm actually with his crew chief, Dave Freitas. Dave, you guys got a great job in qualifying. What's your race strategy look like?
You know, just the same deal, everybody. Just try and get through the first corner without making any big mistakes, no drama, and just let it play out. We've got pace, so, you know, we just need to be smart out there.
Now, I'm looking at your driver, and he's got Tigger on the helmet. Is he truly bouncy, bouncy, fun, fun, fun?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you've met him. He's kind of a weird little kid, but he gets the job done, so I don't know. I guess Tigger works.
All right, we're getting ready for 18 laps here with Formula Continental.
Absolutely. They're talking, of course, about Timothy De Silva, who is sitting on pole. Great lap, a 1 minute 32.571. Putting up a great number below track record time, but official track records happen in the races. We'll see whether they're able to match that. You take a look at that beautiful orange Van Diemen, the Tommy Bahama entry, and this is a good field. 16 cars went out, took times in qualifying. Formula Continental, you may have, if you've watched some professional racing, you may have seen racing called Formula 2000. Well, this is the SCCA club version of it. Extremely quick cars, bit of aero, obviously, front and rear wings. Everybody running same-sized engine in these cars. A lot of them running very similar chassis, and nowhere near enough tire, which makes them fun to watch.
Absolutely. In fact, a lot of the rest of the season, they're running on a different tire, but here at the Runoffs, it is open tire. So a lot of the drivers and teams have been searching for what to run. Talked to a few of the teams. Looks like the Avon seems to be the tire of choice. There is question whether or not that this track will allow the Avon to run really 20 laps, or if we're going to see a lot of late in the race sort of scrambling as the cars start to really begin to slide around early on. What really plays into there is going to be the setup.
Well, and the interesting thing, too, is if you've gone out in a session and run it start to finish so far in qualifying, you've run for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
The race could be well over that, so nobody really knows exactly what's going to happen to these tires in that last 10, 15 minutes of this race.
That's exactly it, and so teams start to speculate on what will the tire be doing on lap 17, 18, 19, because as you start to run a little bit more aero in the car, you get less sliding. Maybe the tires last longer, but then that doesn't give you the straightaway speeds you might need because the other cars in front of you running less wing, well, they may be suffering more tire wear. So there's this balance of amount of wing you can run versus how much you want the tires to wear on this track.
And there's also the matter of local track knowledge versus people that don't run here very often. Let's get back down with an update from Haywood.
Guys, just walking the grid and looking at some of the decisions the teams have made. Everybody up front seems to be on the Avon, but if you get a shot of the rear wing of the two cars at the front of the grid, the pole sitter is trimmed out dead flat. Second on the grid has a little bit more wing turned in. So maybe a strategy there of who's going to be fast in a straight, who's going to be fast in corners, and maybe who's going to be able to pass in a draft.
That's a very good point. You always run the risk when you trim things out of even more sliding on a track that is known for taking a little bit out of tires. When that happens, it's a track you would think downforce would be crucial, but we are going to have to wait and see how that plays out. It's a cool morning. So many different things adding into the equation here at Sonoma Raceway as we get ready to determine our national champion in Formula Continental.
Pace car brings the field. They've already crested the top of the hill here. They're heading over to turn number 3 now, and it should be just a few moments now. This is the
The beautiful blue Trans Am 455 Super Duty 1,000 horsepower safety car leading the field around on the pace lap. And we are getting close to setting this championship run underway on the pole. We've talked about Timothy DeSilva, the number 3. Up next on the outside of that first row, number 11, is Robert Armington out of El Dorado Hills, California, in the audio engine Van Diemen. Next, third, the number 4 of Mitch Egner out of West Kelowna, British Columbia, in the Geartronics entry. In the 4th spot, the number 18, Tom Hope out of Downey, California, in the HMR Racing Van Diemen. And rounding out the third row, in 5th, the 32 of Jason Reichart out of Henderson, Nevada, and the number 9 of Robert Negron in the Lucas Oil and Terry Negron Web Design entries. In the 7th and 8th spots, the number 14 of Paul Marino out of Chatsworth, California, the 68 of Paul Rodler in the San Rafael, California-based Van Diemen, the Porter Racing entry. And completing your top 10, it is the number 99 of Pete West out of Malibu, California, in the DFR and Racing Optics Van Diemen, and the number 51 of G. Scott Vreeland out of Livermore, California, in the Red Horse Constructors Van Diemen, starting in the 10th spot. Big, interesting story here is top 11 are all West Coast teams and drivers. The 12th qualifier is the guy who won the Hoosier Super Tour Points Championship this year, the 45 of Chuck Moran, but he's from Oakton, Virginia, and his Hoosier Ski Motorsports machine does not get a lot of time at this track, and I think that's showing.
Yeah, local track knowledge plays a big part when you're dealing with a classic that's just a lot about setup, whether it's the aero, the suspension, even getting the tires right for this sort of surface. Setup plays a big part. Local knowledge really a key to that.
As you can see, these cars very slippery. The aero is there. It's a little limited, but those tires are skinny, and tire management on this track is everything. And we are about to find out who's got it dialed up. Boy, that front row forming up, and the rest of the field absolutely beautifully as the Trans Am safety vehicle into the pits, heading toward the green flag for the 2018 Formula Continental National Championship run off the green flies, and a good run by Armington. Let's see if he can do something around the outside. He's going to try it side-by-side contact. Big hit, pole sitter DeSilva, Armington involved, and 4, 5, 6 other cars involved as well. I was wondering, that's a tough place to do it, and they inevitably just seem to have touched. And it's a matter of who is able to survive and skate through, and we'll try and settle that one out for you, but huge moment in that first turn.
Yeah, terrible for that pole sitter, but I tell you, going around that turn one, it is so bumpy. When they're running so tight side by side, there really is only one line through there, and with the bumps, all it takes is a bit of an inch, cars are going to be in contact. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, that was a rough start. You can see a number of cars have been involved. And now working up through one of the absolutely key areas of this track, the carousel. There's the number 9 involved as well, Robert Negron, who had qualified in the 6th spot. Looks like he was able to drive through it, but now finds himself parked and not able to get going as the field now heading at the far end of the track from the start area down into turn 7. This is one of the best overtaking areas, the braking zone for turn 7, and it leads into the legendary and iconic S's, and we are running the original track layout here where you get to see the glory of one of my favorite turns in all of motorsport, certainly in North America, turn 10. They're into turn 9 right now, and that next right-hander is so fast. And up into turn 10, there's the number 68, Paul Rodler, and we get word, full course caution. Full course caution. That was pretty inevitable. Here's another look at it here, Larry. As the field heads in, and you can see Armington trying the outside.
Yeah, and it's right as they hit those bumps in the middle of turn 1 there. It looks like on the outside, just a little bit of touch, and maybe that was where De Silva kind of got caught out as they were just tire to tire going into that bumpy section. It's a very big bump. You stand on that bridge and you watch these cars. I watched them a little bit in their qualifying on Tuesday. They're going part sideways. They're twitching through that section. You put them all in close proximity like that, unfortunately, that's where that contact may be coming from.
Yeah, and you can see there's the blue car of Rodler. You can see the pole sitter of De Silva. And a real unfortunate for the 18 of Tom Hope, who had avoided all of the contact but got forced off track, couldn't get it slowed down, hit that little bit of a rise, and it just dug that nose in. He otherwise could have escaped with just some dirty tires on that car. So that has changed things up, but as a result, it looked like able to skate through the number 4 of Mitch Egner and the West Kelowna, British Columbia driver in the Geartronics Lake Union Sea Ray. Van Diemen has been able to assume the point. Well, we'll let things settle out here and get the incident cleared up while we are under this full course caution. We're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. When we get back to racing, this should still be spectacular.
Did you guys see anything else on that start?
catch a number, and that is the number 4 car, which is that great car of Vince Edgar. So he came in and did a quick pit stop. It's that big car racer. Okay, back on the track. Right corner, Robert Dayron now. The pass car finish and in turn 1. So the two of them have got a ways to go to catch up.
Except single file.
Yes. Lights out on the Trans Am safety vehicle. We are going back to green. And interestingly, when we went to break, the number 4 of Mitch Egner had assumed the lead. During the break, he too had to duck into the pits. And so we now have the number 14 up front and ready to lead the field to green. Paul Marino out of Chatsworth, California, is going to be bringing the field up. And the Trans Am machine makes its way into the open area. And we are heading back to racing after a couple lap caution. And Marino will pick that green flag up as we sail up the hill and into turn 1. Hopefully this time everybody will get through clear. That's one of the reasons they usually do these restart single file area, is to make sure everybody does. But you can see there was still some debris down on the track, some of that wine country sand there. And everybody's got to be a little bit careful. And under a long caution like this, those tires that they just maybe got up to a little bit of temp, cool again.
Yeah, those tires are dead cold. And so now you really have to be cautious. And you can see already there as they're coming in through 4, somebody trying to make a bit of a move, perhaps thinking on a cold tire they can make a spot, maybe more comfortable with a chilly tire on that. But really it's going to see now if the gap between Marino and West can start to open up here on this first lap going green.
Oh, look at this nice move. Working the outside. There's the number 2 of Russ Werner. And did he make that stick? That was superb. Went right around the 99 of West. That's just confidence on cold tires on where you might have some grip. And that's usually the sign of a pretty talented driver. When you can find speed on cold tires, you can see the 99 of West pushing way wide. And the KG veteran is right on his 6 right now, that red and black number 45 of Charles Moran.
Yeah, I think this is the veteran experience. What you're seeing is these guys who run on the West Coast a lot, know this track. Perhaps Werner then knew that the outside line could be taken in this condition, and he certainly made it stick there around 6.
Absolutely, but wow, what a start by Marino. He has absolutely clocked this field on this opening lap. There you see Werner now second, 99, West still hanging on to third, and an aggressive move trying to pick up 2 spots by the number 32 of Reichert in the number 32 Lucas Oil entry. He almost got the job done. Obviously, we're seeing some guys that are feeling that they are willing to take some risk here. And with that whole group up at the front gone, Larry, I mean, the top 4 cars out, this is an opportunity for people who maybe didn't really think they were in with a championship opportunity. They've got one.
Yeah, you're in qualifying, and you're thinking, I'm just trying to get a mid-pack position, maybe try and get in the top 5, have a shot somewhere, possibly back a podium. Those guys who were targeting at an hour ago thinking maybe a 3rd place bronze would be a good finish, suddenly are in the fight for gold and silver. And now the guys that might have started this race 10th are thinking, maybe I can come home with a bronze medal.
And just to give you a little perspective, folks, that start lap by Marino was a 138.2. Werner in second, a 140 flat. Ooh, and there's that move again. This time he makes it stick. Reichert is on the move.
Yeah, he really is. He's on a mission to get by, probably recognizing that his pace is a little bit ahead of. So what's going to be interesting here is those tire management. As some of these guys, someone like Weichert or Werner, who's really pushing hard in this first lap, are they going to use their tires a little bit earlier than perhaps someone like West, who's maybe managing them a little?
And that's a very good point. You know, as we've talked about, getting these tires to last for the race. Now, that caution will certainly give them a couple of extra laps of latitude that they could be able to work with it there. But might be exactly right. As you see the 99 of West going for a tear-off, trying to get a little bit better vision as the sun's still low in the sky. There are spots where it is right into your eyeballs at the wrong spot, and you've got to be a little bit careful with that as he sits right now in the fifth spot as Reichert went through, and then Moran up into turn 7 was able to sneak by the 99 as well. Just had a great run out of turn 6, or what they call the carousel here for Moran, and he picked the spot up. But Marino now a 1:37.0. He is flying.
He really is. And I'm also keeping an eye on Egner. He was the one that at the end of the melee there had the lead, pulled into the pits for a second. He was sitting in 12th and he came back on track already up to 6th.
Wow, that's a great charge back through the pack. Well motivated, obviously, to be able to do that, having survived that incident. There's a look at the number 4 of Egner, who really was awfully impressive in practice and qualifying as well. And he has really started to mount that charge. Going to be interesting to see here as we take a look. There's the number 45 of Moran. Again, he was the highest qualified non-West Coast driver. We talked about this track and its idiosyncrasies and nuance, and it is truly, I think, one of the most demanding technically tracks that you can find, and you need a car that rotates to be able to get through some of the tight stuff. But sometimes the other rotation comes naturally because you're apexing right as you crest the brow, so the car's going to be a little naturally free. There's a lot to be dealing with here.
Yeah, Isaac Newton, his gravity is definitely helping you rotate the car at a lot of these corners. But interesting about these cars in particular is what we had seen in earlier races in GT1, for example, where the cars are big and robust and strong. These Formula cars are a little more delicate. They do not want to be using these curbs. They want to just be just on the crisp edge of those lines.
Oh, what a nice move, the number 32 of Reichert, but the over-under as Werner let him through, then cut down underneath. Reichert having just enough exit speed in the number 32 to be able to get that car back out in front. Werner just tucks right back in behind as we set sail up this hill. Interesting lines on this climb up the hill. And, we love doing TV, but there's no way TV does justice to that elevation climb. You are absolutely climbing that hill, but it's off camber most of the way up because you're almost going up the side of the hill.
It's off camber. It's your braking point is somewhere up the hill. You can't see the exit, and then you throw those bumps right in the middle of it as you're trying to set up for your braking zone. And what you see in the multiple lines, I've watched a couple of qualifying sessions earlier in the week. Some drivers want the optimal line based on position naturally, center of track perhaps running up the hill. Other drivers run the inside because it is so much more smooth.
Boy, and look how quick suddenly the number 32 has run down Marino. Marino had that huge lead, and that suddenly evaporated. And it's not just 32. Werner, Moran have come with him. So Marino, I'm not sure whether, he had a lap that was just off a little bit. He turned to 138, and Reichert in the number 32, that last lap, a 35.5, and he brought everybody with him. So I don't know whether Marino maybe had just that little bobble where the car stepped out and lost a lot of time, but it certainly cost him here.
Yeah, it looked like somewhere in that first sector, just on this lap, he may have lost a bunch.
So now the battle is on for the gold at the front here. Marino hanging on quite literally over the 32, the blue machine of Reichert. Reichert loves this braking zone down into turn number 12, gets through. We have a new leader as we exit. Actually, that's turn 11, and this is turn 12 technically. And we have a new leader in terms of Reichert. Now, does Marino have anything he can do with him as they head now on the climb up into turn 1? No. The number 32 of Reichert now has to turn his attention to his mirrors, and the number 2 of Werner, who also has shown pace, and Werner with a touch. A touch, that's what we were talking about. That's one of those blind exits of the turn. Werner made the pass, but you really weren't sure where you're going to end up on the exit.
No, you really don't.
And that precipitated that little touch, didn't it?
It really did. Yeah, you start sliding that as the camera just goes away from you. Visibility's tough.
And I wonder if that little touch maybe didn't do something to Marino's car, because he is suddenly well off pace. And after having led early, there's the number 4 continuing that charge you were talking about of Egner. That will move him now up into the top 4. And fast lap of the race so far to 134.3. But sad news for Marino who looks so strong. So as we watch the number 32, he has been brilliant. What a charge by Jason Reichert out of Henderson, Nevada, and the Lucas Oil Van Diemen, leading here at the National Championship Runoffs in a quest for gold in Formula Continental. So the number 32 of Jason Reichert still leads over the number 2 of Russ Werner, who, by the way, came up from 11th in the grid, taking advantage of that incident. But a great battle unfolding for third as well between the number 45 Moran, the number 4 of Egner. There is a look, though, at the number 32 of Reichert, and he is really putting some laps down at this stage. But it's been Egner in that charge after that stop has come back with a vengeance and some tremendous pace.
Yeah, Egner, the only one right now lapping in the 34s. I was just looking at the lap record here. Actually was owned by Tim De Silva, our pole sitter here. 34.134 is the record. We've seen a 34.3 here by Egner already. Perhaps that record may fall this afternoon.
Yeah, and he's just got a great run going, and he's the fastest of the cars that in this field that weren't taken out in that incident in qualifying. So there's no question about his pace, and he's starting to show it. Ducks to the inside of the number 2 of Werner, and this is that side-by-side up into 2. And Werner did not want to risk anything, let Egner go around the outside. Just a beautifully aggressive and successful move by Egner.
Yeah, he was able to make that on the inside coming up the hill and then carry the outside around 2. In fact, I talked to a driver earlier this week and said that was a potential passing zone if you could possibly get a smooth line on the exit, because then it sets you up for the inside of 3.
There's lots of different ways to take one up into turn 2. We've got some that they'll just straight line to the apex. Others stay way left on that approach curb and then rotate the car aggressively up and over the curbing. Both seem to be relatively effective, and that means if you can place your car right on a competitor, you could pull something off that they might not be expecting.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Egner was really doing there, is trying to get that position and hold it there, put that pressure, and make Werner back off.
Now that last lap, Werner turned a 136.3, Reichert a 134, and Egner, in that run, he turned to 35. Now the question's going to be, what kind of speed does Egner have with some clear track? Can he go after Reichert? And you just pointed to our monitor here. We can look at sector times. Looks like Egner's got the pace.
He does, as he's turning now. Fastest purple overall, fastest time in both the first 2 sectors on this lap. So I'm fascinated to see how close we get to a lap record here. We may be seeing it.
Yeah, 11 laps still to go, so plenty of time. And that is going to be fun to watch. You just saw the margin. Officially, as they come by here at start-finish, it should be about, look like 2 seconds or thereabouts, and he's certainly lapping. Yep, 2.1 seconds. So he is flying, and the opportunity is there to come after him at a big time. And that lap, a 134.19, did he do it?
Just off of it. It's a 198 to a 134 lap record, so he's got about another half a tenth to go to catch him. But he is right now catching Reichert at over a second a lap.
Well, that carrot's dangling out there clearly for him to chase at this stage. And there they come. There's the margin. First to second. You can see Werner back there in third. He's dropped off a bit, another couple of seconds adrift of Reichert.
Egner again, purple sector 1.
Oh, he is just throwing the laps down. And if he puts together another couple purple sectors, which means fastest of any time through that sector, he only needed to find, what, 3-4 hundredths to go under the track record. Now, the problem is if he gets up to the back of Reichert and then has to slow down a little bit, that could hurt that lap. We'll see. He's pretty much there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's definitely faster right now. As that first sector, they were a full second faster there for Egner. As I'm going to see if he sets him up going into 11 here.
It's going to be interesting. Here's turn 10, absolutely glorious corner. And Reichert was able to really get deep on the brakes into 11. That might be his one good defensive weapon against Egner in that, I'm not really sure what color you call that, sort of a pinkish gray.
It is,
I
yes.
think we'll go with that. He's all over him, swinging to the outside. Did he have the momentum, and can he make it stick? The 32, Reichert, trying to force the issue, keeping him out wide just a little bit. Egner trying the over, and now the cutback. Looks like he carried a little bit too much speed, got a little bit too wide. You can see the back end stepped out, and that cost the exit that speed that he needed to make a run.
Yep, and as you see the lap time there for Egner now, 34:053. That is the new lap record here.
Wow, so Egner in his charge to the front, able to break the track record. That's a nice little feather, and he's got a silver medal right now as well. You want the gold, and he can see it up there. And Reichert, we'll see if Reichert's able to respond at all. His last lap was a 36, but he has run laps in the 34s today, so we'll have to see whether he can find a little bit here up into turn 7.
So this is, I think, where it gets interesting. We've got about halfway point in the race here. The qualifying sessions earlier in the week were all of about 20 minutes. You typically got 9 to 10 laps. So now we're on lap 11, and I think what you may be seeing is how well do these tires hold up, especially at the pace and the push that Egner's been putting on. What are his tires going to be doing as we get to 14th, 15th lap? Maybe that's where Reichert's trying to just hold his own, be a bit of a wide car, just to keep the tires clean for the end of the race.
Well, I was wondering right there, we've seen it throughout the weekend. During practice qualifying, people have been making passes around the outside of 9. I thought Egner might try it the way he was looking there. I think Reichert would have made that a little bit difficult. And Reichert using up every ounce of track, trying to keep as much exit speed momentum as he can. And he drifts over a little bit. This time Egner a little bit more alongside. This was what we saw at the start of the race at turn 1. And at this point, Egner, and again, tried to make the move, realized it wasn't on, tried to cut back a little bit. Didn't lose as much this time to Reichert.
No, it didn't lose quite as much. I think Reichert he's doing a very good job of positioning himself on the track to defend. It's not blocking. He's taking a single line, but he's taking the line.
Ooh, and Egner now showing the nose down to the inside into turn 4. Didn't quite get it done. Now we've got some traffic. No problem there. Beautiful job. They stayed outside. Let him go. But Egner got to run. This time he's going to be to the inside of the carousel. And it's done unless Reichert gets a great exit. He doesn't. Actually fades out just a little bit. And to the front, Mitch Egner. What a charge.
Absolutely. Just fantastic. As we mentioned, he after the melee of lap 1, he was in the lead, came in to the pits for a moment, actually came back out on track in 12th and now to the lead.
Yeah, we got to report the problem he had in the pits was a charging issue of some point. And that's got to be a little bit of concern, because if that creeps in again, electronics issues, never something that you feel very comfortable with once they crop up. But he's not worried about it. I think now he's turned those mirrors down and he's going.
I think that's what he's going to try to do. Now I'm interested to watch how do his tires hold up, because he has been charging through the field. How do the tires hold up, as Reichert's not going to go anywhere. He's going to be right on his tail for the next 8 laps.
You bring up a very good point. I mean, Reichert may have said, I could go faster. I could defend on him. But I think I might be taking too much out of the tire. I want to have something to race with at the end here. And it's interesting to see. And this is a track that it is a absolutely phenomenal track. But you can almost see the abrasiveness. And as a result, you don't get the grip. The tire doesn't dig into the surface as much. It tends to slide across it. So you get a lot of surface heat. That can blister tires. And it certainly can ruin their efficacy.
It can. And all these cars, typically the rest of the season, they're running on a spec tire. However, here at the Runoffs, they are not. It's open tire. They've primarily all gone to the Avons. And even talking to a couple of drivers, they're not quite sure how long the Avons will last. They don't believe that 20 is going to be as good a performing lap as they do in laps 4, 5, 6. And I think that maybe is what Reichert maybe he's strategizing, is to try and make sure that there's tire left at the end. He's losing pace quickly, though, as he's now over a half a second back, as Egner doesn't appear to be holding up at all.
Right now, Mitch Egner is doing the job, continuing to lead in his quest for a national championship in Formula Continental, staying as close as he can. The number 32 of Jason Reichert in silver medal competition, and in the 3rd spot is the number 2. Again, a great drive up from 11th. Russ Werner from White Salmon, Washington, and the Slingshot Sports Van Diemen. Mitch Egner continues to just ease away a little bit here at the 55th running of SCCA's National Championship Runoffs. Formula Continental. There's the number 32 of Jason Reichert, who led for a good part of this race after his own charge up to the lead. He was very aggressive, some great passes, but he just has not been able as of yet to match the superb pace we are seeing out of the number 4 of Mitch Egner and the Geartronics Lake Union Sea Ray Van Diemen. Just got some great pace, but as you said earlier in this one, Reichert's not going to just give it up. He's going to continue to press.
Yeah, he's not. I think he is going to press. Right now he's dropping back just a little bit. We'll see if he's just trying to manage. Again, no one quite sure how these tires are going to perform.
This is the number 2 of Werner, who was running in third. There's the slingshot sponsorship on the side of the Van Diemen having a moment, and off track, has to get it turned around, back underway. And you can see now he's got to deal not just with an abrasive track, but lots of sand on those tires.
Yeah, he was all the way out, 4 tires in. I got a little worried there. He's going to high center the car coming across those curbs back onto track, but he does bring some dirt back on. So I'll be curious to see how the next time by when the leaders come through, are they going to be managing across that slippery surface.
And it does take a few corners at least to get those tires cleaned up just a little bit and be able to get some of the grip back. The question is whether the number 9 of Negron, who was running in the 4 spot, that's Robert Negron, and the Terry Negron Web Design Van Diemen, was able to, I think he was able to slide through and pick that spot up. They had a pretty good lead back to the 51 of Vreeland, who was running in the 5th spot, G. Scott in the Red Horse Constructors entry. There is a move through a little bit of traffic right there. That was the 62 of Kim Wilcox out of State Line, Nevada. Doing a nice job, just opening the wheel up. And this is a track, we've talked about it a little bit, with all these blind approaches into the turns. And if you're going to be fast, you've got to commit. You've got to go. At this track, maybe more than any other, the flaggers, the corner workers with those flags on the side of the track, you've got to trust them, and they've got to be on their game.
Absolutely critical to a driver is to rely on those flaggers with these blind exit corners, because in some conditions, if there's a driver at the exit, you're never going to see him until you've made that commitment. As you said, you're looking for that flag stand. All these drivers know exactly where those flag stands are before they even start the race. They do that on the track walk even earlier in the week to make sure they know where their visuals are, and certainly relying on it on this. And the other part, I think you mentioned earlier, was about the sunshine coming down early in these morning hours. Is it looks like it's kind of coming around 9. You've got your eyes right into that sun as you're approaching that very intimidating turn 10. So again, you're trying to keep your eyes out of the sun, looking for a flag station to make sure that there's no one coming back there, because there's never going to see it if you're just looking into the sun.
Absolutely. And one of the things for the flaggers, they know that here you can't be indecisive on that flag. You've got to pull the trigger. If you even think that somebody is going to spin coming over one of those corners and there's traffic, you get that flag up right away so that everybody gets a bit of warning. It's interesting watching the number 4 of Egner, his line through the first part of turn 7. There is that apex curb, and you can see it right there. He runs much wider than anybody else. The number 2 there of a recovering Werner does as well, but runs it very wide, and you think, oh, he missed that apex. No, you do that by intent because you want to open that corner up to get that run into the S's, which you're an autocross specialist. That's basically a slalom.
It's very rhythmic, and you're trying to establish that rhythm as early as you can. If you can hit that mark on the exit side of 7, not so much worrying about the entry side, but the exit side, you set your rhythm up going down through those S's in 8.
Good battle here down into turn number 11. Up front was Vreeland and Werner having their own little battle for 4th and 5th. Moran sits in 6th right now as he works his way in the red and black machine. Again, the Ski Motorsports and Hoosier, and also Barbara. So that's obviously somebody important. We're going to throw that in as well. Again, the champion in the Hoosier Super Tour combined championship this year for 2018, Moran is. And awfully accomplished driver. Lots of conference championships. His best finish at the Runoffs, though, is 5th.
Clearly, though, the most experienced driver we've got in the field. A lot of these drivers, only 2 of them in the entire field with more than 2 Runoffs entries. And although they've got experience at the track, experience driving, experience in maybe divisional conference type races, there is something about knowing how to manage the nerves of the first lap, first turn here at the Runoffs.
Exactly. No, and actually, folks, I got a little confused there for a minute. This is not a position battle. That's the number 2 of Werner And then it's the number 14 of Marino, who after his problems, remember, he ended up going down a lap at this stage, showing some speed, though. No question for Marino. And apparently the reason that he had to duck into the pits is you suspected it, picked up a cut tire.
He may have, yeah. With all that melee on the first lap, it's very possible there was still a little bit of debris down there on the track.
So he's just out there for now having some fun. And the one thing you don't want to do is almost what he did there, is lock up and take out a guy who is in a battle here for a top 5 finish at the Runoffs. You want to get by him, but you want to do it clean when you're down a lap. And I would think, too, another smart move where would be for Werner to say, go. Oh, problems. That was our leader by a ton of damage to the right front of that car. You can see damage to the wing. Tire is down. There has been some contact. And you can see he is one frustrated guy. We're not sure exactly where it happened. That's the S's.
It's coming out of 6. Or
either coming out of 6. Yeah, exactly. So, wow. Huge development here. So Reichert finds himself back into the lead. Negron second. And the 51 of Vreeland up from 10th now sits in podium position here. Unbelievable development here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be looking to see a replay to see maybe if we know what happened there to Egner. Unfortunate, because he was really running strong there, kind of pulling away.
Well, he'll get a track record out of it, if nothing else, but that's small consolation when you could have had that gold medal draped around your neck at the end of this one. But for the number 32 of Reichert, you know, he was aggressive getting to the lead, didn't quite have the speed, and that allowed, obviously, Egner to be able to slip through. But maybe, I mean, we're just speculating completely here, but, you know, contact, or maybe he just overused those tires and lost grip and something happened. I mean, who knows?
The car does not appear to have it. Yeah, I see a flat tire on the right front, but don't appear to see any kind of contact damage. We'll see if we can get that in a little bit. But what it does do is it brings a race to the front. Reichert assumes the lead again. But look at Negron now just a second and a half back and lapping about a half a second faster here with a couple laps to go.
So what you're saying is that Reichert's thinking, not again.
I think he's watching his mirrors.
Fast guy coming up behind me here. And interestingly, they qualified on the same row. They occupied row 3. Reichert qualifying 5th, Negron 6th. And you get a feeling here that these guys have run against each other fairly frequently before. As I said, both West Coast drivers. And this is going to be a fun battle here. We're down to just a couple of laps to go here. And we're halfway through or more one of those laps as you watch these cars work through these S's. Just an iconic piece of real estate here. These glorious S's leading into this uber challenging turn 10, one of the great corners. Not a ton of runoff there, and you've got to carry huge speed if you're going to be quick. Here we go, into 11. It looked like there was a car right at the apex of turn 11 that may have stopped.
Yeah, waving yellow down there.
Yep, white flag, 1 to go. Reichert, who has been at the back of the field a bit, charged through the field to the lead, lost the lead, found it again, now has Negron 1.4 seconds officially behind him. And then back a little bit into a comfortable third is the 51 of Vreeland.
For about the 18th
But for Jason Reichert, what a potential story, Larry.
Oh, absolutely. These guys coming back, like you say, several rows back. Both of these cars that were actually on the same row, now just a second and a half behind him. And it still nose to tail. Nothing quite decided, but Reichert, of course, in the prime position. He did have a wide car earlier when Egner was able to get by him. I suspect he'll have the same wide car here on these last couple of corners.
You know, it looks to me, too, like the wing on the number 9 of Negron, right front, is down a little bit, and the whole wing platform seems to have rotated a bit.
He's got a bit of something there on the nose of the car, like there may have been contact. Not sure if that was from the first turn incident earlier.
But it's not slowing him down too much. And saw that little bit of lockup as he went in. Boy, I'll tell you, this is it. Last lap. And Negron had been all over the back of Reichert in the braking zone for 7. Reichert now able to find a little bit here. He's got a car length. He's got 2 by the time they get to turn 10. Will it be enough? Here we go into turn 11. Reichert has owned this part of the track, able to get in very deep. There's no passing there anyway. Or there was. Yes, they've released that car, but he couldn't get it done. One more turn. Can the number 32 from 5th on the grid of Jason Reichert surviving the carnage at the start? He does it. He is a gold medalist at the runoffs in Formula Continental with the number 9 of qualifying row mate Robert Negron right with him for second. And the number 51 of G. Scott Vreeland. He was quite a ways back, but he did have a fair amount of room back to the number 2 of Werner. So we'll see whether Vreeland is able to hang on to it. But I'll tell you, that was, in a way, a race of survival. Surviving that first corner melee, they were able to get through. Suddenly, I'm sure as they saw everything happening, they're thinking, oh, we're going to get caught up in this, we're done. Then you skate through, and suddenly you realize, I may have a shot at a medal here. And then he drove like a man possessed to get to the front.
Yeah, he got himself to the front. Both for Reichert and Negron, typically in qualifying, you don't want to be stuck in that rows 3, 4, and 5. But apparently for these two, it worked out really well for them as they were able to avoid that first lap melee in front of them, managed the race. Negron dropped a little further back than Reichert. Reichert was able to charge to the front and get that lead and had to battle with Egner for that lead for several laps and was able to hold on as something happened to Egner. And then Negron coming along. If this race is 1 more lap, 2 more laps, Negron might have had a shot of even getting by Reichert, but Reichert managed to get the win.
Yep, absolutely. Negron, he was on the outside of that row we talked about. It was people on the outside row that got caught up in that, probably why he had some of that damage. But whatever it did to the car, and you could see he definitely has that nose and that wing a bit askew. He figured out a drive around, didn't he? I mean, he found speed.
Yeah, he definitely was learning the car as it went, and that's probably why if you see his laps start to get quicker and quicker as he makes sure that damage isn't quite affecting him, maybe a little cautious as you go through, and figure out where the car can be faster. If the damage is on one side, does it hurt you in certain corners or the others?
All right, the number 32 of Reichert is working his way toward a medal. On the cool-down lap, the number 32 of Jason Reichert has completed the run through pit in. And as he works his way down pit lane, there's a very special spot that is set aside. And you can see there are the SCCA grid and pit workers saying, no, you guys don't need to pull in here. You've got to keep going to Victory Circle and pick up your medal. Boy, what a compelling race, Larry.
Absolutely. Excitement right from the green flag. Literally, as green flag drops, a lot of excitement. But that wasn't the end of the excitement with the leads swapping positions a couple of times, really taking these drivers that have regional and West Coast experience and taking them to victory.
And you can see the emotion, the absolute emotion, when you win a gold medal, especially when it's perhaps one you weren't really sure you were going to be able to win. I mean, it's not like they were way down the order by any stretch, but they knew they had some mighty fast gents that they were going to have to be dealing with in front of them here. But they got through the melee, and as we said, they did what they had to do to get to the front. Some of Jason's overtakes were absolutely spectacular. Hayward Wagner, Jason Reichert just won a gold medal the old-fashioned way, didn't he?
All right, working on getting the helmet off for Jason, our national champion here in Formula Continental. Jason, you had a rough week. You blew up the good motor. You're here on the bad motor, but in victory lane with a gold medal around your neck. How does it feel?
Oh, it's amazing. I can't thank this team enough.
Now, you got a pretty good seat for that turn 1 incident. What can you tell us about it?
I honestly didn't see what happened. I was looking towards my mark on the left, and I just didn't see anything that happened on the right, but luckily we made through it.
Now, with everything that went on this week, are you surprised to be here?
Yeah, I'm really surprised. After practice, if you told me I would have won this race, I would have been shocked. But I'm really happy to be here. I just want to thank everyone that put this event on.
Well, congratulations to you. You get to do one more lap here at Sonoma. Enjoy it.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you love to see that kind of emotion, but that's what it means as we take a look at the results, the medals, Reichert, Negron, and Vreeland, but Werner, Peter West, everybody that was able to at least come through and pick up the checkered flag, they completed the SCCA runoffs. They got here and were able to make it through the race. Yeah,
this is definitely a bucket list for a lot of folks. Some of these drivers, like our winner, a younger generation, but some of the drivers are not. I talked to Werner a couple of days ago. This is 20 years he's been doing this, and this is kind of bucket list item to come out here and do this on their local track at the runoffs.
Absolutely. Now, we've seen the gold medal winner, but there are more. Hayward?
Second place finisher, Bob Migron, silver medal around your neck. Are you surprised to be where you are at the end of this runoffs race?
Well, yeah, it was a survival race, that's for sure. A lot of crap happened, but after I went off in the first turn, got involved on all that stuff up there, I thought we were done. So coming back here it's a blast.
Talk about the way the car was throughout the race. You guys only got 20 minutes in qualifying. What was it like to go the full distance here?
Better than the 20-minute qualifying, so I can tell you that.
Well, congratulations to you on silver. We've got our third place finisher right over here wearing our bronze medal. Come on over. You just came up to Bob, gave him a big congratulations. Talk to me about how it feels to see them finish there.
You know, Bob's one of us old guys, so I mean, we kind of hang together on all this, and to know all the issues that everybody deals with yearly to get to this point, I mean, I'm just ecstatic for anybody that happens to finish today. So
tell me a bit about your race. We had a little melee there on the first lap, and then things kind of settled in for everybody.
We did. There was so much dust and debris in front of me, I drove off track, but I just tried to stay out of every piece of fiberglass I could see flying in the wind, and managed to come to a stop with the engine running with no damage done to the car. So I was able to pull back onto the track and continue on. So,
well, congratulations on your bronze.
Thank you very much.
Well, basically that story that we were just talking about, we see it there in that victory circle. The young Charger who did a great job to get the goal, but the two more experienced drivers, let's put it that way, that this event is something very special for them, and that's sort of their pilgrimage, is to get to the runoffs.
Yeah, you can see Negron and Vreeland, both the experienced drivers, that look in their eye of kind of the sigh of relief and satisfaction to be on the podium here.
Yep, it is very, very special indeed. This has been a great race, a fascinating race to the national championship, and Formula Continental started off with this big moment at the start, and then it was those that got through it best and figured out how to stay at the front that were able to put together a great run. It has been an honor to be able to call this one Formula Continental, the national championship battle at the runoffs. Thanks again to Mazda for presenting the coverage, and an absolutely fabulous event here at Sonoma Raceway in Wine Country, California. And in the end, it was an absolutely fabulous run to the gold. And for the young man, Jason Reichert, and the number 32 Lucas Oil and Layrite Coast Fireplaces Van Diemen, he got the job done and earned the title national champion. Congratulations to all of our competitors, and thanks to everybody for joining us. On behalf of Larry and Hayward, I'm Greg Creamer. We look forward to calling more. We hope you join us then.